Thinking about the Blackmagic Pocket Cine camera? Well, you might want to put that on hold and take a look at one of these cameras first.
Just before we carry on with this video, I'm happy to say that the sponsor of this video is NordVPN. I'm not just happy to say it because they're sponsoring this video, but it's also the service that I go for because it's got military-grade encryption, super fast servers in over 61 countries, and 24/7 customer service. Plus, there's a 70% discount for 3 years, plus 1 month free by clicking and using the code. Ooh, check out this sexy little beast of a Cine camera. It's like a mini red, except it's not a red. It's a Zcam E2. Looks sexy in a cage. Everything looks sexy in a cage, apart from animals and Shia LaBeouf. Anyway, all metal construction, and it's kind of cube shape, which kind of reminds me of metal Rubik's Cube. Yeah, anyway, all metal apart from the buttons, which are a kind of rubbery texture. Probably because it's rubber. You've got 3 customizable buttons on the front and 5 buttons up here, which can be a little bit fiddly to navigate through the settings and menus, but you kind of get used to it. Probably would have chosen something different than rubber because there's a certain vagueness to the feel of rubber. You don't know whether you clicked it in properly or not. But there we go. Flappy bits here, quite obviously plastic. But it doesn't matter about its flaps, it's about what's under the flaps. On the back here, looks like something's missing, but it's not. Here we've got the Sony NPF battery, which already makes it a win compared to the Blackmagic Pocket Cine camera 4K and 6K. Then we've got other connectors here. We've got something to connect your old printer, internet, look, Wi-Fi, USB-C and power. And also an HDMI connector here, which is useful because this thing doesn't have a screen built in, doesn't come with a screen. So you need one of these babies here.
The Atomos Shinobi costs $300. The E2 is yours for $2,000 of your hard-earned dollars, whereas the BMP-CC 4K is a complete. This is essentially the brain only.
Alright, maybe that wasn't complete truth about the screen because it does have live view on the Zcam. Let me show you.
Watch carefully because you might miss it. Try and nail focus with that screen.
Oh yeah, and another thing, the fact that the LCD screen is on the top of the camera means that if you've got your camera on a tripod at eye level, you kind of have to do tippy toes to look at the LCD screen to change settings or get a step ladder. So you do need one of these external monitors. Actually, no you don't, because it's got Wi-Fi. Let's take this off, which is just, well, it's just about to run out of batteries.
In my opinion, this next option is as good and in some aspects better.
Here we are, now we have live view thanks to this phone, which I just found from somewhere. It's some random phone, I think. And look, no wires, look. No wires around the back. Woo! I could use one of those magician rings to kind of go around it, but the tripod would kind of get in the way. Yeah, it's fantastic. And actually, there's not too much latency. There's not too much lag.
It's pretty marvellous as long as you have that Wi-Fi antenna plugged in, so it can exchange signals with the phone, which is all the way a couple of centimetres away. It makes it a fraction laggier than a monitor hooked up via HDMI, but you can view this from a distance. But not only that, you can control it from a distance too.
Yeah, of course, this is nothing new for consumer brands, but for an independent camera brand that produces Cine cameras, this is quite a shock. This is a big surprise. And what's more, the app is pretty damn good. Like, you can change all the settings here. Oh, the shit button. I was thinking, why has it got a shit button on the camera? That's shutter. Waveforms, vector scope, zebra, peaking. It's got everything on here. Latency, mostly not too bad. Sometimes there's interference and it kind of makes it a bit sluggish, but mostly all right for wireless. But if you want to wire it up, you can. All you need is a USB-C to lightning cable because it only works with iPhone at the minute. If you want to use an Android, you're gonna have to use Wi-Fi or buy an iPhone.
Connecting the phone via cable is ideal because it makes the connection more stable, and in fact, it has less latency than the HDMI monitor.
And that is just brilliant for the independent filmmaker, the YouTuber, the person who shoots alone. Billy, no mate, it's because you've got one less device to change batteries. Of course, it takes batteries and you need charging it, and yes, the batteries do run out.
And just to completely hit it out of the park, your phone, when connected via the cable, will get charged at the same time.
Anyway, enough about the camera body, let's see what it can do. Well, it can do 4K 120. This is where the price and what you get for it starts to make so much sense. I mean, these days the BMP-CC 4K kind of gets all the limelight, and to be fair, that is a super value camera. 4K 60p, big ass touchscreen, great interface, but piss poor battery life, and it's fugly. At least the E2 looks like it means business, and it does. It can shoot ProRes up to 4K 60p. If you use H.265 codec, you can get 4K 120. Frankly, I can live with that.
This is something the BMP-CC 4K doesn't do, and although it has the dual native ISO like the Blackmagic, some say the same sensor, I prefer the look of the Zcam files.
But then here's the funny thing, it shoots Z-Log. It's got hybrid log gamma flat and 709. Z-Log and flat are nice and flat, and you get free plugin and whole loads of LUTs to choose from. But I preferred using the 709 profile because it is lush. Shoot with the 709 and essentially you don't need to do much with the image, you just tweak the contrast and it's done. I can't think of many other cameras that makes it so easy to get a cinematic looking image. Colours superb.
You can tweak the 709 video a lot or slap a LUT on.
And the GH5 is another option. Well, maybe the GH5S would be a better camera to compare with this, but I don't have one, so there you go. They're all micro four thirds. Dynamic range in log is not hugely different, but the highlights look better with the E2. The GH5 has a harsher roll-off. The GH5 709 doesn't compare.
And then there's the rolling shutter. There's less of it than the GH5, and that is already pretty good for rolling shutter.
But it just keeps getting better. It doesn't just do a mere 4K 120, it goes up to 160.
The one caveat with all this is that the 4K 160p has to be shot in 2.4:1. I'm totally fine with that because those clips are so smooth, like butter sliding on ice or something. If you're looking for a cine camera in the region of 2K, this is a solid choice.
I mean, I'm trying hard to think about negatives really. The flaps? The flaps are really difficult to open when you've got the cage on it.
I've even forgiven it for having rubber buttons. The flaps, I'm working on that. The only thing that this will be questioned on is how this slots in above the BMP-CC 4K in terms of price, without a screen. But the E2 has enough unique features to make it slot in above the BMP-CC 4K in terms of function and performance. And the interesting thing? To know that Zcam are about to launch not only a Super 35 version, but also a couple of full framers. It seems there isn't just one company producing the magic for affordable cine cameras.
I first started off using VPNs years ago, mainly to watch region-locked content such as the football. Wherever I went I could keep up with the footy scores. These days it's still the same, but I watch other stuff which is exclusive or available in other countries first, but also for security. Quite often, like when I'm at an event, I'm using the internet in public places like hotel lobbies or even in bedrooms. They're often not secured connections. NordVPN secures in seconds and provides extra anonymity with double data encryption. Plus there's no data logging because it's registered in Panama. It's not just for the computer, you can get it on your iOS and Android apps also. You can have up to 6 simultaneous connections and, well, it's risk-free. 30-day money-back guarantee. So here's the offer again, 70% discount for 3 years plus 1 month free by clicking and using the code. Thanks for watching. See ya. Bye bye.